Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to this event, Staying Grounded, which is hosted by the Society of Scottish Artists as part of Mental Health Awareness Week. I'm Rona, I'm the Vice President of the SSA, and our guest this evening is Dr. Laura Taylor. Laura is a mindfulness-based cognitive therapist, and she is also a GP working in urgent care. And she is also my sister. So I'm delighted to have her here with us this evening. So hello, Laura.
Hello, Rona. Thank you very much for inviting me.
We've got a little bit of housekeeping just to do before we get started. So apologies if you were here on Monday evening, because you might have heard some of this before, but we'll just go through it quite quickly. So this is the second of 3 events that the SSA is hosting as part of Mental Health Awareness Week. And the aim of those is to connect with our members and some other people in the arts community, and to share some tools which hopefully people will find really useful. But what it isn't is advice, because we're not a mental health support service. So if you do need greater support at the moment, then please do contact your GP, or you can look at NHS 24 and ring them on 111. So this is a webinar. So some of you who are watching just now will be with us on Zoom, and some people might be watching on YouTube either live, or we're going to keep those up on our YouTube channel for a little while, so you might be watching after the event. But regardless of when you're watching or how you're watching, we cannot see or hear you. And nobody else who is on here can see or hear you either. So we realised that there are a few limitations to running it in this way, but it was the best way that we thought to run these events this week. But there are lots of other people here, and we will be hosting some other events soon with different formats that people might find that they can engage a little bit more with. So please be kind, because this is a new way of working for us. It's a new way for the SSA, and I think it's a new way for Laura to do her mindfulness teaching and meditation. So, you know, if it does drop out for you for any reason while you're watching, you can just rejoin with the same link that you had. We will try very hard to keep it to 30 minutes, so everyone should be away by 8 o'clock. And if you do need to leave before then, or if you just decide that this isn't really for you, that's absolutely fine. We don't mind. You're not disturbing anybody. That's okay. So we have got the chat box on there. So please do use that if you like. You can either just say hello to people by sending it to all participants, or you can ask a question, or if you just want to send something to the panelists, so you just want to ask Laura something, you can do that. I'll keep an eye on it, and we've also got an administrator here who's hopefully making sure that everything runs smoothly. Anyone watching on YouTube won't be able to see that chat box, and what we would ask is that people do not share any personal or private information on there. So to pass over to Laura, I think it would be great if you could just tell people, because people might not really know what to expect with this. So if you could just kind of outline what we're going to be doing this evening.
Okay, well, it's really lovely to be here, and I really appreciate the SSA attending to Mental Health Awareness Week, particularly in our current climate where there's a huge amount of uncertainty around for people. And I think it's really important to notice the topic that's been chosen for Mental Health Awareness Week this year, which is kindness. I know that over the last few weeks there have been a huge number of opportunities to see kindness in action. But what I really want to shine a spotlight on tonight is ways we might extend that kindness to ourselves, because I think it's often more challenging than extending it to other people. But I also think it's really important. So I don't want to say too much about the experience that we'll be sharing tonight, because I think the best way of understanding it is to just get on and experience it. But we'll be offering up 2 different meditation-based practices for people to play with and have some fun with. it's not something that you can succeed or fail at. So it's just about coming along for the ride and seeing how you get on with it. I'd invite you to let go of expectations about how your experience should be. A lot of people come to these thinking they should be relaxed or they should have their mind empty or any of those things. And can I just really emphasize that that's not the case. The meditation practice is just to connect you with elements of your experience that's happening right now. And the most important bit is just taking care of yourself. While we're doing this, whatever I offer up as an invitation, please bring kindness to it. If it's uncomfortable for you, or you want to shift position, or you want to mute me, or you want to have a cup of tea, all of those things are fine. There is nothing absolute about this. There's no right way or wrong way of doing it. It's just having a light touch and a bit of connection with our experience in a dimension that we probably ignore a lot of the time. The only other thing I'm going to mention is the bell, which sounds like this. And I'll use that to signify an end to each individual practice. It's really just a way of coming out of something gently without me shouting, open your eyes, it's all over. Without further ado, let's begin our first practice. So the invitation is to find a posture which allows you to feel connected with your body, awake, but dignified. So if you're sitting on a chair, perhaps coming away from the back of the chair so that your back and your spine is self-supporting. Having your feet flat on the floor if possible. You might need to pop it on a book, depends how big your chair is. Anything that allows you to feel stable. Letting the spine rise out of the pelvis, with the head sitting squarely on the shoulders and perhaps lifting the head at the crown as if you're attached to the ceiling by an invisible cord that's just lifting the crown of the head up. If that's not comfortable, you may choose to lie on a bed or on the mat, but most of the instructions I'll give will be for seated people because I imagine most of us are. Just letting the hands rest in the lap or on the thighs and softening the gaze. Maybe just lowering it to a few inches in front of you, or if you're comfortable, closing the eyes. Feeling into that posture. And then when you're ready, taking a moment to notice where the sensations of breathing are strongest for you. Might be at the nostrils, with the air moving over the lips. You might notice it in the chest, with the chest wall rising on the in-breath, pausing, and then falling away on the out-breath. It might be in the abdomen. Just checking in over the next few breaths as to where those sensations are most alive for you. Not looking to control the breath in any way. Just looking to attend to it as it already is. And as we sit here, our minds will wander. And when we notice that, that's okay, it's what they do. Just, as best you can, letting go of whatever's taken you away and returning to the breath. Each in-breath is a new beginning. Each out-breath is an allowing or a letting be. Letting go of the idea of success or failure. No right way or wrong way to breathe. Just exploring gently. What do I notice in my body as I sit here breathing? And then when you're ready, on an out breath, letting go of the breath as the spotlight. Moving the attention to parts of the body that are grounded and supporting you. Perhaps the feet on the floor, the bottom on the chair. Just taking a moment to check in with the sensations, that sense of contact. Sense of gravity moving the feet down. Paying attention to any sensations of stability. Noticing also uplift from the floor or the chair, offering support. Again, the mind will wander as we do this. It might be helpful to notice what's drawn it away, maybe thinking, worrying, offering up a label, and then as best you can, just letting go, and gently and kindly escorting the attention back to those areas in contact with support, back to the feet on the ground. And then as we come into the last few moments of the practice, perhaps choosing to return the attention to the breath. Just noticing as it waves in, pauses, leaves the body. And knowing that in times where we might feel scattered or dispersed, the mind running away, we always have the option to bring into our attention that grounding, that anchoring. So Rona, I don't know if you'd like to offer up any word or two about your experience, what you've just engaged with.
Yeah, I felt kind of mainly quite focused, but a bit distracted, to be honest. I think I felt quite self-conscious about the fact that I'm aware I've got a video on, which I think is probably not ideal for this. But it was nice to just kind of be really.
Yeah. And when you noticed the distraction, did you notice any response to that, or?
I thought it was interesting when you said about what is it that, is it worry, and it wasn't worry, actually. It was just nonsense kind of sort of trailing through my mind, and actually it was like, oh, okay, we'll just now think about this again. That's how it felt to me anyway.
Yeah, I think that's lovely. I mean, the mind has got its own agenda and will chatter about any old thing, to be honest. Quite often it's just filler.
Did you want to ask if anyone, I'm not sure, people might feel a bit self-conscious to do this, but do you want to ask if anyone wanted to put their reaction in the chat?
Yeah, if anyone wants to share a word or two about their experience, it can be positive or negative. It's all experiences are welcome. It's an equal opportunity inquiry. But if anyone did want to share any words, then they'd be very welcome to.
Do you want to, if people are thinking about that, do you want to talk a little bit about the second practice that we're going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
What that's about, and if people wanted to put something into the chat box. So someone has put something in, which is lovely, saying that they felt very calm.
Yeah, that's interesting to notice that. I don't know, it's hard to have that conversation, but it's interesting if that was something that appeared during the meditation. So noticing that change.
This must be quite strange for you to do, because obviously I think this is the first one. Am I right that this is the first kind of webinar that you've done, so you're not in a room with the participants?
Absolutely. Usually it's eye contact and banter, and people are quite happy to say, oh, my foot went to sleep and I hated it.
So somebody else has kindly written their experience and just said that it's good to stay still and concentrate. But she's sitting on a rotating chair, which probably hasn't helped. Yeah, it probably does make a big difference, I would think, because that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, but that also contributes potentially to our feelings of instability. If we want to feel stable, we have to create stability. And I think we get messages back from our body the whole time, so we can set odds in our favour, but But it is interesting. It's, you know, that opportunity to be still is really rare, you know, and to actually create it, it can be a real gift to yourself. And that's not, it's not always a relaxing experience, but it's nice if it is. So thank you.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
Is there other times of day that, like, people, that's better to do this, or is it just completely up to whoever is?
It's totally up to whoever's doing it. Often people find it sets their day up if they do it first thing in the morning, but it's about doing it. Doesn't matter when. Quite often a challenge of doing it in the evening is that people are often tired. But when I was trying to get a disciplined practice going, I had a rule that if I got to the news at 10 music and I hadn't meditated that day, I would take myself off. And quite often it was much nicer than listening to the news. And so there's a top tip. but habits, you know, it seems simple, and it is, but it's very much, it's not easy. You know, these are practices because you have to keep practicing them, and you can have an attitude of mindfulness, but unless you kind of bring attention to it and practice it, then it often stays you know, further away at arm's length.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got another comment here about someone found it relaxing. I don't know if I can see the whole thing.
It was nice to relax and clear my mind.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, these are very positive comments. I'm conscious that time's marching on.
Sure.
So I wonder if we should set up the second practice. Mm-hmm. So this is a gratitude practice, and it would normally be a 10-finger gratitude practice, but for the sake of timings, we're just going to offer up 3 different elements of gratitude. And what I really want to hone in on here are the small little everyday things. So we're not talking about major life events. It's about, our brains will naturally judge our experience, and they put it into the sort of good, the bad, or the bit in the middle, the neutral bit. But actually, if we look at the neutral bit, it's usually a little bit positive. And that's got the wiggle room to change our day-to-day experience. But I've broken my rule and I've told you all about it before we've actually got on and done it. So perhaps we should just press on. Yeah. Okay. So taking a moment to find a posture that allows you to feel relaxed but awake. Softening the gaze or gently closing the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Allowing the attention to settle on the breath. And then when you're ready, taking the thumb of the right hand in the fingers of the left and bringing to mind an object that has been part of your day to day, that has made your day a little easier or a little happier. Might be that first cup of coffee from a favourite mug. Might be a tumble dryer that allowed you to get your clothes dried. Might be a favourite paintbrush. Just something that's in your day-to-day world, but that you've chosen and that brings you pleasure. Just taking a moment or two to bring it to mind and offer up gratitude. For the positive impact it's had on your day. And then when you're ready, letting go of the thumb and taking hold of the right index finger. And bringing to mind something from nature that inspires you or brings you joy. Perhaps a view from a window, perhaps bird song, something that you've noticed, but only peripherally. Just bringing it to mind now, smiling at it. And then when you're ready, letting it be and moving to the middle finger of the right hand. Taking a moment to bring to mind a person today who's brought a smile to your face. This is often a bit more challenging. We sometimes have quite complex relationships, not looking for anything. There may be mixed feelings, just something simple, maybe somebody who made way for you on the pavement or who offered up a smile. Maybe a cheerful voice on the radio or a pet you share your life with. Not overcomplicating it, just someone you bring to mind that brings a smile to your face. Just offering up that gratitude to them. And then gently returning the attention to the breath. And offering up to yourself, what can I do to best take care of myself as I emerge from this practice? I need to move in a particular way. I need to get a drink of water. What can I do to look after myself? What wise choice can I make? That was a speedy yomp through a practice that actually is one that's shown to really improve happiness. And I think that often is a practice that's nice to do at the end of a day, to just check in with things that might have made the day a little bit better.
Yeah, I found that lovely.
Did you? Good.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to share any comments or any feedback, that's really lovely. I'm conscious that time's short today.
We could kind of go on for quite a long time, but I think we're going to wrap it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, so thank you obviously very much, Laura, for doing this. We really appreciate it. It's really kind of you, and it's your night off, I know, from working in a hospital. So it's really appreciated that you've taken the time to do this. Just to say that we've got another event on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Which is resources for wellbeing. So I think that's just going to be on YouTube. But how we'd like to end this evening is Laura's going to read us a poem. And then once she's finished reading the poem, then that will be the end of the webinar.
And I have just noticed that there are a couple of comments here. I would say, I think it really can be a powerful practice. So I hope that it's landed nicely and has been comforting, even if it's brought up quite powerful emotions. And I would say experiment with the other fingers. Just get in there, whatever comes to mind. So I hope it's interesting for you. This is a poem that I think sums up how I feel we need to be approaching these times. It's called If You Would Grow by Daniel F. Mead. If you would grow to your best self, be patient, not demanding, accepting, not condemning, nurturing, not withholding, self-marveling, not belittling, gently guiding, not pushing and punishing. For you are more sensitive than you know. Mankind is as tough as war, yet delicate as flowers. We can endure agonies, but we open fully only to warmth and light. And our need to grow is as fragile as a fragrance dispersed by storms of will, to return only when those storms are still. So accept, respect, and attend your sensitivity. A flower cannot be opened with a hammer.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.